Hey, I'm really fucked up, but you can call me the Black Penis 100. So, last week I did a list of top 10 movies that I hated, but everybody else seemed to like for some weird reason. So now it's your payback time. I'm doing a list of movies that I liked, but everybody else seems to hate. That's a keyword. I'm not sure whether they actually hate it, but they seem to hate it. Number 10, Halloween, and by the way, I made a couple mistakes with the list, and I don't want to redo it, so... Okay, number 10, Halloween, the Rob Zombie version. Um, a lot of people really don't give this movie enough credit. But the second one, I agree with you all, I despised the second one. It was nothing but stabbing and cursing, nothing else. But this movie really took Halloween to kind of this other level. It wasn't better than the original, but it was still very good in its own right. In terms of an adaptation, I guess it kind of pissed people off as an adaptation, but I really prefer to let other people have their chance with something, make their own kind of originality. I don't believe in judging an adaptation based off of what it was created off of. As long as it gets the general feel of the story right, it's right in my eyes. But they did. I like how they really took chances with this movie. And they decided to give Michael Myers a backstory. He wasn't really a boogeyman in this movie. He was more of an actual serial killer. But to that movie's credit, they actually did make him seem like a real life serial killer. He does things in this movie that I know real serial killers have done. And basically we sort of see him. In the original movie, they kept Michael's background a mystery to make him scarier. But in this movie, they explained that he was sort of a product of his environment. His dad died. His stepdad is a drunk. His mom became a stripper. His sister's a bitch, and he's just treated like the runt of the family. And that's kind of an understandable way to grow up, and it would drive almost anybody nutty. But another thing is too, there's something about serial killers that I've always found terrifying, arguably scarier than supernatural things. I did think that the original Michael was scarier though, but this new Michael Myers was terrifying in my opinion, because think of it this way. If you saw a boogeyman, if a boogeyman killed somebody brutally, it would be terrifying, but it wouldn't be as terrifying as a regular human killing somebody, in my opinion at least, because it's in their nature. Boogeymen do terrible things, it's what they do. But a human killing another human being, that's like a crime against nature, and it's something that you don't see that often. And it's always also been interesting to me, what drives a human being to do such animalistic things. And they did kind of get into that. Immediately when we see him, we don't get into times where Michael's better, but it is hinted that that there was hope for him at all, but it was all erased now. He kills animals. He has a habit of killing animals. He kills his pet rat Elvis and washes his hands of the blood. And it's also implied that it's not the first time he's done this. And he later makes his first human kill that same day when he encounters this bully in the woods. That scene was pretty damn scary, actually. He's So, and by the way, the bully's played by Junie Cortez from Spy Kids. Yeah, I grew up with that movie, so that was sort of a like a knife to my nostalgia. Um, but basically, what it is, he's walking through the woods, and then suddenly Michael pops up with a mask on, not the typical boogeyman mask, but a clown mask. He's wearing a clown mask. He knocks him down, then he starts beating him to death, and it's actually quite gory, and you can really feel the blows that he's given, and he is beating the crap out of this guy, and he's begging for mercy, and Michael is also screaming during this kill. He's not really like silent until he's an adult later on, and but that and you but honestly, part of me, I think, enjoyed watching that, because we've all gotten bullied. It's not like an irregular thing. We've all gotten bullied sometime in our lives, but isn't there a part of you who just wants to give that like big bad wolf or whatever you had in like your childhood hell? I kind of like enjoyed watching that for some reason, and I guess like I know I sound like a psychopath, but it's true. I gotta tell the truth. I'm honest. I have nothing for that. But I'm honest. I gotta be honest for these videos. And also when he massacres his family, well, most of his family, his mother is off being a stripper. Yeah. So basically, it's pretty gory. His stepdad gets drunk, he tapes him to a chair while he's asleep and slits his throat, and then he stabs him a couple times in the chest and the face, and then he beats his sister's boyfriend to death with an aluminum baseball bat, and then he stabs his sister several times as she's trying to get away. And that was a pretty scary thing too. But also what I like was when Michael's mom gets home and she sees what's happened, you can sort of feel her pain. I mean, imagine this. I highly doubt that adults are watching this video, but imagine this. You come home from a regular day after and you see that your kid has just slaughtered your entire family, and your entire regular-ish life just ruined in the blink of an eye, and she's trying to be faithful, but eventually it becomes clear that her son there's no hope for him, so she shoots herself. What a happy ending. But that's not the ending of the movie. Then they transition to 15 years later, where Michael Myers is now played by wrestler Tyler Mane, who also played Sabretooth in the first X-Men movie. That guy, he's a fucking he's a friggin' building. Did you see him? Like, he's a fucking building. He's like 7 feet or something like that, and that kind of made me wonder, how the hell did Michael get so big? He was like really short when he was a kid, and now he's like up to my ceiling. And then that's when he breaks out. He kills the guards who were trying to escort him, and he even kills a janitor who tried to befriend him who tried to help him through his troubles. And that just shows that there really is no hope for Michael Myers at all. He's become a monster. And yeah, and then he breaks out to go and find his sister, and that's another thing. In this movie, he's not trying to kill his sister, he just wants to reunite with her. That was only like fully revealed in the next movie. And also another character who I thought was really interesting, Loomis. He was played in this movie by Malcolm McDowell, who in my opinion is a fantastic actor. He's played by Malcolm McDowell, and I like this kind of spin that they added on him, because while Loomis knows how dangerous his patient is, and he wants to get him he wants to get him, strike him down badly or something like that. He wants to put a bullet in his head. He kind of feels sorry for him because he understands that Michael wasn't born evil. He was turned into a monster by his environment, and that kind of leaves an impact on you when you think about that. And if like what, and he kind of considers that he failed to save Michael, and he kind of, and when Michael's got when he's got Laurie, his sister, who was played by, I don't remember the actress's name, but she did pretty well. She, when he finally has her, he puts the blame on himself. He tells him that he's sorry for everything, and then so Michael attacks him, and Laurie has time to escape before like the final chase scene. And that's another thing. Like I said before, as much as I love the original Halloween, you didn't really like it was very scary and stuff, but you couldn't really like feel what was going on when people were dying. At least that was in the first two that trait was in the first two movies. Yeah, let's just pretend the third one never happened. So yeah, I'm watching 1,000 Ways to Die. Not 1,000 Ways to Die, a history thing, about a guy who fell off a tree and died. Okay, but another thing was, well, you don't really feel the death as like people are getting stabbed and stuff like that, but it's like, oh, she got stabbed, and that was kind of scary. But this movie, when somebody is getting stabbed or something, you can really feel them getting stabbed. You can really feel them getting beaten or something like that. And there's also this one part where Michael rips out a nurse's throat with his bare hand. That's pretty gory, and well, he does it twice, once to a female guard and another time to a nurse. And but also another reason that I like this movie, the supporting cast, they kind of made the supporting cast seem a little more three-dimensional than they did in the original movie. And don't get me wrong, I still like the original movie better, but they did have a stronger supporting cast, like the police commissioner, who's Annie Brackett's father, Officer Brackett. He's kind of he's a really three-dimensional character. You can really sympathize with him, especially in the second movie, one of the second movie's few strengths. And plus, I want to add in Annie Brackett, the actress who played her. Crap, I keep forgetting their names. But she did a great job, and I'm not just saying that because she's hot. They did you get to see her boobs in this movie. That's it. I'm trying to remember her name. I'll get to it later. But I remember it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh well. I'll just get to it later. But again, the supporting cast in this movie was very strong. You really kind of sympathize with them. You don't want to see them die, and they seem a little more three-dimensional than they did in the original movie. But the main reason I like this film is because it delves into the mind of a killer and how it can become so violent if it like develops into this kind of insanity. And I'm not sure if everybody else liked it, and I hated the second movie too, but I thought that